Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the InsideLowell Daily Pulse, the Friday, June 13th edition of the Daily Pulse. That's right, I said Friday the 13th, and who better to co-host on a Friday the 13th than our own black cat, appropriately dressed,
I'm in mourning, Teddy.
The always imitated but never duplicated Leslie Boder is in the house. What's up, Leslie?
Nothing, man. I had a nice walk in. I'm happy to be here. It's Friday.
Thank you for the coffee.
My pleasure. It was a bit of a test in my patience to get it.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
The downtown Dunkin's is,
well, the kids order food with their large soft drinks, and that takes a while.
Honestly, that has ruined. You remember you used to be able to go to the Dunkin's drive-thru?
I wish it was just a coffee
They would process 100 cars in 35 seconds. It was absolutely what a product. But now they got to make all these fancy iced coffees and these sandwiches and all this crap. And I mean,
the teenager in front of me got a caramel macchiato, but it was frozen.
Yeah, exactly.
With whipped cream.
Yeah,
I was like,
and you come out of there with blue drinks, orange drinks. It's like, just give me a bleeping coffee. Can you just have like a line, like a fast service line?
The coffee donut line.
You want a coffee with milk and sugar only? Here you go.
Regular.
Just cut through the line. Maybe they'll teach these little bleepers a lesson, right? Sit there and wait for a half hour for your freaking Dunkin' Donuts and bacon.
And I'm jonesing for a coffee, so it's not a good experience. I can smell it. I just can't touch it.
Anyway, thank you for
my pleasure. Are you kidding?
Grabbing me the coffee. Last week it was the teas for my raspy voice, and it did wonders. Here I am. I'm back. Ready? We did a full week of the Daily Pulse. Got a little help from Madame President Danielle McFadden.
Great show.
On Wednesday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then I came back to annoy people yesterday, and we're going to annoy some folks today as well. We got lots to talk about with Leslie Boder. Lots of topics. We're going to get to all of them. But first, let's thank our Daily Pulse sponsors, shall we? Ray Booten, licensed realtor, Mass and New Hampshire, certified appraiser, both states as well. Find them online at realestaterayBooten.com. That's realestaterayBooten.com. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, or if you're looking to have said property appraised. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. Thanks to WellPoint, thanks to Ray, some other sponsors as well. But I want to start the show today with Leslie. We've got two big news stories from last night in the Mill City, and you kind of have a front row seat. Well, even for the third one that I want to talk about for tonight and tomorrow. But we'll start with what I'm calling Operation Dirtbag. I mean, Dirtbag. Last night, you could hear the choppers in the sky, and you're thinking, uh-oh, either bad accident, somebody's in the Merrimack, or, but if you look close enough, you could see that was a state police chopper low enough. So people with their cameras were quickly posting photos. So, looked into it. Folks told me, I had a couple of people tell me that, we're chasing dirt bikes. State police is here. They got unmarked cruisers. So we put the post out on social media, and right away, all the journalistic experts, like, you're not supposed to say that. You just told.
She did it twice, too. She says, and then she thought again. I saw her.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot, right? I've never in my, my 30-some-odd year of journalism ever dealt with police departments and spoken to them and known when it's okay to release something like it. Like, I may or may not have known that was coming earlier in the day, morons, but I shut up until the operation.
Well, it was pretty loud for like 4 hours.
Yeah, well, you see, people start seeing police cruisers flying up and down the street, unmarked cruisers. Well, they start to get a little concerned. So
I was having a ball.
It was okay with folks that we put it out there, but I'm waiting for an update. I reached out to the Lowell Police Department this morning. I know that as of last night, they had apprehended one kid, I believe, in Drake. They chased him down Bridge and Broadway and got him in Drake. I'm pretty sure they've got plenty more as well.
He's heading for Pelham, Teddy. He's heading for the border.
But honestly, long overdue. And I know Councillor Gitchier has been pushing this. He actually had an agenda item on Tuesday night asking for an update. Are you going to yell at Councillor Gitchier for telegraphing it as well, people out there?
No.
But so...
there's an unruly crowd that is running amok in the city. There's kids on bikes, there's mopeds, there's unregistered vehicles, there's the stereos. There's a gentleman that comes to County Square every morning, and his passenger seat is a speaker. So not only is it loud, but the car vibrates, and he's stuck at the light. No, 3 minutes straight, Teddy.
Is the problem the volume or the fact you just don't like the music?
No, I don't care what the music is. It could be a jig. I don't give a crap. At 6 o'clock, shut it off. But, you know, the windows are coming down now. I had to turn my TV on mute. Seriously, they get caught at that light at County Square coming down East Merrimack or over bridge, and that's all I hear. And it's all variety of music. I'm not picking on anyone, but it's too freaking loud. And it's against the law. It's against the law.
All right, let me ask you,
Yeah.
Leslie Boder,
Yeah.
former state police trooper.
Yes.
How do you stop this? Can you stop this? And we've heard it ad nauseum, people complaining about it. It comes up on the council floor. People talk about it, but you're told that the law kind of handcuffs you in some ways because you can't chase them. God forbid one of them gets involved in an accident and gets hurt, or collides with an innocent person and that person gets hurt. I mean, my wife's grandparents told me a couple of weeks ago in Chelmsford that Chelmsford police blocked Chelmsford Street, and they just hopped up on the sidewalk and almost were mowing people down. Like, these kids don't give a bleep. I don't even want to say kids. By the way, these aren't 12, 13-year-old kids. These are 18 plus, likely gang banging, drug running.
There are car seats in the back of some of these cars, Teddy.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I'm at the light. I'm standing right there. I'm like, oh my God. They could give a shit. They could give a shit.
So
downtown has thousands of residents.
Yeah.
Please put a sign up when you come into the downtown. Residents live here. Be a good neighbor. They don't give a shit.
Oh no, that'll make them rev it even louder. You can see them if you're caught with the dirt bikes, they'll kind of like surround your car and they're looking at you like menacingly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't give a.
I don't chase them.
I don't get. I don't really scare, but I'm like, I can see where you start staring into people's windows and you're surrounding somebody like that's borderline threatening.
Yes.
Like, is there a need? Why not just wait behind them in line? Why do you got to surround people? So let me ask you the question that many residents are asking.
Yes.
Why can't you do more? Or are there steps that can be taken by local police departments?
Locals doing all they can.
State police. I mean, short of the spike strips, which I think would ultimately end it. It may lead to a couple of the dirt bikers getting hurt, but if they realize that that's a potential outcome for them,
they know that.
They could. They know that. They could stop.
When you're on an object with no doors or anything around you and the wind's blowing in your ear, there's a shot you could get hurt. Or a bug might hit
that's true. Maybe
don't smile.
Maybe it's the daredevil thing.
You'll have mosquito teeth if you smile.
So if you were a state police chief in Massachusetts or Lowell police chief, what would you do?
I would have called the bird in. I would have called the helicopters in because that way it's a bird's eye view, of course. I've chased one motorcycle in my life and I won't do it again. It was flying down Route 6. I was in Yarmouth and I was hidden. And he took off and I chased him. Went off exit 9. You know what he did? Stinker. He went right down a bike path that had stanchions up. So he went through the middle, and I'm just sitting there in my cruiser. Oil, gas, the smell, my engine smoking. So, you know what I mean? And he just turned around, and I went, that was the biggest waste of my time. And I just embarrassed the job to have the seal on his car.
And he knows that he's taunting you.
He was heading for that bike path, and he knew where it was, and I didn't, because it went off the highway into a town, and I didn't know the nuances of that town specifically. So anyway, I won't do it again. It's dangerous.
So the chopper, at least, they may be able to elude the police, but the chopper follows them. They have to go somewhere at some point. Either they go home or to someone's home. And now, at the very least, you can direct law enforcement there and confiscate dirt bikes. But you can confiscate it, which means they'll just go steal it from another kid. But I have to ask this question of the parents out there. Which one of you is buying your kids a dirt bike? That is going to get stolen inevitably, or your kid is going to be one of these people doing that in the middle of the street. Why would you buy a kid a dirt bike? What person in their right mind, or do these kids just have enough money from other nefarious activities and they're buying their own?
I think they're probably financing their own. And the parents are probably
who's selling the dirt bikes? So you can't buy a car or an automobile or a motorcycle or an automobile without registering it. Should we do the same thing with dirt bikes?
Absolutely. They have to be street. They have to be street equipped.
Right. So any dealer should then register it under somebody. So somebody's name is attached to that.
Well, you can buy a dirt bike, off-road dirt bike. You have to actually make it a street bike. You have to add lights to it. You have to do a plate to it. You have to register it.
Right. But what I'm saying is even these off-road dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Why doesn't a dealer have to register it to somebody?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that vehicles are considered a vehicle if you can achieve a certain speed, and a moped doesn't necessarily reach a certain speed, but it does. I actually, on Cape Cod, I'm the first person to arrest someone OUI moped because he was suspended 4th time and he was shit-faced on his moped and he's going down the street and I locked him up. So OUI moped. It was in the 80s. Teddy, I'm telling you the truth.
By the way, when did the moped become cool again? The moped was, if you got caught, remember the old joke?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? Or no, what's the similarity between a moped and an ugly person?
I don't know.
They're both fun to ride until one of your friends sees you on them.
What, did the bag break?
I mean, the moped was not cool. Now I see all these kids in,
it looks Italian now.
motorized scooters. Yeah, the Vespa. Right, the climate change. Greta Thunberg made it cool again to ride a freaking moped. Can we rid the world of this scourge?
Yeah.
Both Greta and the moped?
My God.
Anyway.
I'm saving Palestine. Go ahead.
We're trying to get an update from the Lowell Police Department on what exactly was accomplished. If anything, hopefully there was more. Naturally, the people, the commenters go to our Facebook page, Inside Lowell. And
I loved every second of it.
Leave your feedback there.
Undercover
Some
cars,
folks
too.
are saying, do we really need these kind of resources for a damn
because
dirt
unless
bike?
you're downtown every day, you don't see it. They are stopping traffic. They're rude. They're spitting. They're throwing things. They're cutting you off. They come up behind you so fast when you're walking, you don't hear them until they're on you. And they're not allowed on sidewalks. So I don't know what's going on. It's hard. You need beat guys downtown, but what can they do? Chase this kid? It's stupid.
Well, the Segway's not going to, unless you can soup up a Segway to go fast enough.
Low PD can lock up everybody. It's the courts that let them out with the bid.
Sure, the next day. We're not going to.
The same day.
Exactly.
They catch him before 9. That guy's out by 4.
Yeah.
And
back on the dirt bike, taunting the officer.
Be a good boy.
Yeah.
Be a good girl. Because there's a girl whipping down East Merrimack every day into County Square on one of those little, I don't even know what they're called. It's like a skateboard with 2 wheels.
It's a scooter. Yeah.
It's a scooter.
Motorized scooter.
She does about 30 coming down from the auditorium. And I can judge speed. She's flying.
That's a death.
But she's good. She's very good at it. But it's dangerous. She hops right on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I see them out at the park. We were at the park the other night, daily school. My son had a basketball practice outside, so we were hanging around outside. My little one's riding her bike with their training wheels. Meanwhile, there's kids with these motorized things flying around the parking lot, up and down the path.
Yeah. And what's unfortunate is the ramifications for doing the stupidity that they're doing is minimal. It's misdemeanors. But then you have disorderly conduct if you are now obstructing traffic. So I'd be locking them up disorderly because you cannot affect my peace. But if you're screwing with downtown traffic, especially in County Square at the Dunkin' Donuts a little further down, and they're trying to take a left on onto Central from, Bridge Street, take a right on Merrimack, take a left on Central. Everybody blocks that intersection, banging left there. And, so it can become disorderly at a point. There were 10 kids on wheelie bicycles. And I said something out the window, and then I thought, crap, I wish I didn't say that because I'm stuck in this light. And they could literally turn around and, so.
Yeah, but you're packing.
No,
so they're not going to win that battle.
Oh, you were? I was so fed up. And I said this word, and he just looked at me. He's 12 soaking wet. I'm like, what am I going to do to him? Open my door and knock him into space?
It's a thought.
I had it, but that's why I'm wearing black. I just felt my mood today. It's just perfect.
Friday the 13th.
I know.
The Black Cat, Leslie Boder. The other bit of news last night everybody was waiting for, but if you watched the Daily Pulse yesterday, I told you you're very likely not going to get your number for the Lowell High School cost overruns. And it was revealed last night by Manager Golden, Jim Dowd, and everybody else in that school building committee meeting that the June 24th Lowell City Council, they will have the final. They don't have the final number yet.
Yeah.
Bullshit. They know. They may not have the 2 decimal points after the.
No, I don't think they have the line. I let us down easy.
But they know how much it's going to be. And what's alarming to me is I guarantee you the city council knows. I guarantee you the Lowell City Council knows they had an executive session Tuesday night,
Yeah.
and suddenly everybody clammed the bleep up. Even the most loose-lipped councilors, I am not talking.
Yeah.
I'm being, some of them are even ignoring me. And these are the ones who never ignore me. But I was told by a source that my thing about a month ago, more than a month ago, May 6th, I believe it was, with Corey Belanger and Bill Samaras, I said $30 million.
Yes, you did.
I was told you're way off, Panos. Way off.
Thank God it's undone.
And not in a good way. Not in a good way.
It's low.
So what is that number? Is it 40?
I don't have kids.
What's
What is that number?
If I said 30 and they come back with 35, is that way off?
No.
It is for the taxpayer, $5 million. But
plus or minus.
yeah, it's less than 10%, right?
Yeah.
Or somewhere there.
Whatever
Yeah.
that is, yeah.
But if it's 40, now I'm off 33%. That's a good number, right?
That's a third. You could own a business taking that.
But it wasn't just a way, W-A-Y, you're way off, Panos. It was you're way off. There were 3 A's in
There's no map to take you
there
here
were 3 or 4 ways. Are we talking 40, 45? Are we talking 50, 60? Because, and this is my concern,
You're
because
going the wrong way, man.
because we knew,
Okay.
and it was confirmed for us last night by Jim Dowd. The contractors now have you by the balls. They got you, and they're not just one hand. They got both hands. They got one on each.
Cement balls.
They got one on each testicle. And he was asked, but he was asked by a number of John Haley, who knows construction, knows design. In my mind, the most intelligent person in terms of construction on that school building committee, started asking, like, what are these time costs? What are the, because we're told, the time, it's like $1 million a month just for the extra time. And we know it's a 12-month minimum delay, 12 months now.
Oh, no.
That may go up too. But, so there's 12 million right there.
Aren't we spending $1 million to publicize the city too?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot to like about Lowell, but not the cost of the high school project. There is not to like about that. But they were trying to get to the point, and Jim Dow's like, listen, goes, these contractors had deals. They were told you will be on the job from X through Z. Right?
Yeah.
And now you're being told you're going to be on the job from Y through A. We're going back around.
Yeah.
And now you're negotiating a new contract with the subcontractors, with the general contractor.
Yeah.
And what's Lowell's choice at this point? The work has started. The gym has been built. The 5-story, freshman academy has been built.
The dentist is gone.
The dentist is gone. The Kirk building they've begun work on the Kirk Street buildings and the 1922 and eventually Colburn Hall if they haven't already. They got you. And it's not they're not caressing them, they're squeezing. They're squeezing taxpayers of Lowell.
Oh, excuse me.
And you may not have a choice. You may not have a choice. And
I don't think I do.
If they're going to give you that number.
But it's for the children.
And what are you going to do? It's
for the
exactly. It's for the children.
Who are on their bikes driving me crazy.
It's always for the kids. So I'm worried about what this number is because they're going to try. They're going to try to go back to the MSBA, but we were told not likely. They'll try to go to the legislature and see if, maybe we'll have to agree to let Governor Healy stick 25,000 more migrants in the city for a while and educate those kids in this beautiful new high school. And maybe they'll throw us a few morsels, right? But this number, Leslie, is going to be borne by the taxpayers. You as a resident, my father as a business owner.
Well, he's getting
this is, there's no turning back now.
Yeah. Well, my kids will benefit, Teddy.
So as we look back to almost exactly, I think it was almost around this point in June of 2017 that vote was taken to build a new school and avoid all of what we told you was going to happen.
Yeah.
How is history, how is the Leslie Boder history book, right? How is it looking back on 2017 and those people who were courageous enough to make what has been now proven the correct decision? As much as you downtowners will fight it, you were wrong and badly wrong. You were badly wrong. And for those of you who cut bait and left the city, thank you for the mess you left behind.
How about the ringer they put on the city council just to vote it out?
Oh, the Cirillo, that was the victory cigar.
No, that was a straw.
They already they already knew they had the majority, but electing Karen Cirillo over Danny Rourke was the Red Auerbach victory cigar. Like, we own you.
Straw, though.
You now own this mess. And as I keep saying every chance I get on the podcast, to the taxpayers of Lowell, the residents of Lowell, ask yourselves this election season, who exercised the correct judgment in 2017? Who was proven right, and who created this disaster that you were warned about, and they told you, no, don't believe your lying eyes? Remember that, because there are a number of candidates on those ballots, and they're all running. In one particular neighborhood, they're all running from this because they know what they did in that neighborhood. Sure. And even the incumbent. Well, your old neighborhood, not downtown.
That's true.
Although downtown was a big part of it. Yep. Downtown was a big part of it. There was the congressional machine, the Nikki Tsongas congressional machine. She was a downtown resident at the time, I believe. Well, no, she moved to Belvedere eventually. I apologize.
She's always been in Belvedere, I think.
But they all, no, she lived downtown for a little bit too. I believe so. Okay. But they did this, and it's literally to the point where the incumbent, Cory Belanger, who actually made the right vote, to much to his political chagrin, he's not going to mention this because that neighborhood, how much of that neighborhood still is like, we don't care if it's 100 million overrun.
It's not in my neighborhood.
It's not in my backyard. That's right.
Well, I being from Belvedere, right across from Clark Road, I didn't want to see it. To be honest with you, I didn't want to see it at the stadium either.
So you were part of the problem.
I'm part of the problem, but I went with the flow. I'm a downtown resident that is seeing the ramifications of it. But you taught me something yesterday I didn't know about. I'm class A 81. I didn't know there was asbestos.
Well, we were telling you that in 2017.
I went there for 4 years while they were building that. I inhaled asbestos.
And they told us it was all remediated in 81, and what was left was remediated in 97.
You know, I wasn't raspy before 81, did he? Now I'm raspy. I think I have a suit because I did not know I was exposed to that when I went, and I let the adults take care of me.
Yeah.
I remember an adult long ago saying, geez, it's tougher to open up old walls than it is to build new ones, and I'm going to leave his name out of it. But he was right the whole time, and he's kind of in the business. And now he's in the business. Oh, I don't know. I wanted it at South Common because it's a green space that just collects needles and homeless people.
In retrospect, based on what's happened to South Common since then, although it looks better now.
We need green space. We need green space. No, we don't. Not over there.
Yeah, it might have been.
No, we don't.
A football field is a nice green space.
I'm just saying. But you want to redevelop?
That might have been the right idea.
We talked about it the other day. You want to try to redevelop Gorham Street up by Santoro's and the projects and the courthouse and put people in there to live. How are you going to build up that area unless you put the high school there? It would have been built up. Yeah. You would have had a moot point here. I don't know.
No crying over spilled milk.
No.
What's done is done. It's done. We got to fix it so we don't have to do this again in 20 years, which seems to be the pattern. But when we decide how to fix it, and we decide other important decisions in the city going forward, let's listen to the people who got this one right. Listen to the people who got 2017 right, the most consequential decision in the city of Lowell, probably since they decided to start digging those canals and opening those mills. Okay?
Thanks to the Irish.
Listen to the people who got it right, and let's kind of tell those who got it wrong, way wrong, 30 million, 40 million? 50 million? I don't know.
Is there a date?
Tell them to sit this one out.
When's the date they're supposed to open?
Right now, it looks like it'll be open for August of 2027. The 1 year delay, which is adding on to the labor cost. We're told it's like $1 million a month. But I will try to get a number. I'm going to work before the 24th, try to give you an inside peek at the number. But I'm telling you, even the most loose-lipped shit.
They're ghosting you?
They're ghosting me.
Oh,
and I don't blame them because they know once one of them spills the beans.
Yeah. I learned a lot from your show yesterday.
But, let the people down easy. If they have, so here's my theory: this is the media person in me, the journalist. If you give me the number or give me a ballpark figure, I can put it out there. And then people will have, what's today? Today's the 13th. They'll have 11
Friday.
days to stew, but so it won't be as much of a shock when it comes out on
The
Tuesday
best
night,
stuff comes
June
out on a
24th.
Friday at 4.
Yeah. Oh, Friday at 5.
5? Whatever.
Oh, send me the info. I promise I won't release it till 5 p.m. Friday.
5:01.
Hell, I'll release it before the holiday next week, Juneteenth, June 19th, Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll release it on the holiday itself. Even better.
Even
There we
better.
go.
Something to cheer.
Somebody please answer my text. I've never had such a trail of unanswered texts in my life. You guys hate me all of a sudden? Christ.
They'll come in. They'll come in. They'll come back.
All I know is I ran into Bill Samaras last night
Oh,
before the
did you see
meeting. And, and he said, I've got to go to the school building committee meeting. I'm like, what's the number? He's like, I can't tell you, but they know. They know, or they have a good idea.
All right.
All right.
Must watch TV on the 24th.
Must watch TV, the Lowell City Council meeting on the 24th.
People gonna go?
Just make sure you have your heart medication with you if you need some nitrous capsules. All right. Marxists at the monument. Mayor Sokari Chau, mayor yet again. And the Karen Reed saga is almost over. We're going to get to all of that. First, let me thank my Daily Pulse sponsors. How did Bodo and I go from having absolutely nothing to talk about to 26 minutes in, and I still have 3 major stories to get to? Anyway, thanks to our Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massa, New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states. Find them online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks to WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that goes the extra mile, even after they carbon tax it. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI openings. By the way, it's suites at Franco and the residence. No, it's with the suites in Air Mansion and the residence at Franco. 2 great places. I've toured them. Unbelievable. Great views of the Merrimack. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection in Greater Lowell, Southern New Hampshire since 1925. It's Filler Up Friday today, so fuel your weekend travels at Mahoney Oil, conveniently located on Plain Street, just off the Lowell Connector. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation throwing out grant money left and right over the last week, and also improving the quality of life in our communities through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance. This is the border. Read. The agency Greater Lowell is counted on to insure its most valued assets since 1982. What is that website, Leslie?
FEPINS.
FEPINS.com. Say it slowly. You won't get into any trouble. The censors will not
I don't know how.
come after you.
I don't know.
And by the Massachusetts Pirates. They're bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Not this weekend. They're on the road this weekend in Iowa to take on the Barnstormers, but they're back to take on the Tulsa Oilers Saturday, June 21st at the Tusongaста Center. Hope to see you there. Hoping for another victory for the Pirates. All right, Leslie.
Yeah.
Very kind of you to invite the Donald Trump protesters, the No King Day protesters, to your backyard.
Sacred Park.
Tomorrow. Kerouac Park, 1 to 3.
What would Jack say?
Is somebody cleaning up the needles
I
before,
was going to say this.
before the protesters show up
Don't
there?
forget Larry, who's in the shrub. It's his home. I had a guy next to my dumpster the other day wrapped in bubble wrap.
So this is one of the many No King's Day protests
I think
going
so,
on
yeah.
throughout the country. They've actually, it was nice of them to time the ones in this area. I think they got one in like Tingsboro at 10 a.m., another one in Groton at
that-
12.
quite
And
in
then
Tingsboro.
so that people can jump from one to another. It'll make the numbers look bigger.
You're going to drive if you go to Tingsboro.
But
Yeah.
don't you have anything better to do on a Saturday? I hope it rains.
It is. Wait a minute. It's going to rain.
It's going to rain like a
No,
mofo.
it is. Yeah.
But so before they get to Kerouac Park on Saturday,
Yeah.
we've learned there's actually another one
Tonight.
on Friday night. Tonight. Yes, at the Ladd Whitney Monument.
Oh, God,
They're calling it DDD, Dine, Discuss, and Demonstrate, Dine, and Discuss,
What about
or whatever.
disrupting dead descendants? I mean, that's a memorial. There are 2 soldiers buried there. Move it along.
Can we get the flags from the firefighter memorial, the American flags, moved over to the Ladd Whitney Monument for the protest?
No, because
no, I'm sorry.
They'd be upside down, or they'd be thrown, or
plus they only wave the Mexican and the Palestinian flags. Are they gonna start waving? Are they gonna start waving Iranian flags now after the after the Israeli airstrikes? So will they now wave Iranian flags instead of the Palestinian and the Mexican?
Well, the
flags?
Iranian flag and the Palestinian flag are green, white, and black, so they look the same.
I get the Mexican flag, unless you look up close. The Mexican and the Palestinian flag looks kind of
red, white, and green this way with an emblem in the center is Mexico. Red, white, and green without that is Italy, and red, white, and green, it could be anything. I don't know. So it's not red, white, and blue. So that's all I know.
So tonight's DDD, like the warm up to the
I'll be dead that way.
No King's Day, is put out Solidarity Lowell organized one. However, interestingly enough, yesterday they put out a social media tweet that said, "We have learned that Boston PSL." A group called Boston PSL is going to be showing up there as well.
Is that like the PLO?
We did not invite them. We did not collaborate with them. And we remind everybody we're about peaceful protests and demonstrations. Which, to their credit, I love to dump on the folks from Solidarity Lowell, right? Those Vidania, yes. Marxism, Lenin, Stalin, yes. Solidarity Lowell. But the local Marxists have been rather peaceful.
The Marxists have, but the socialists are waking up.
But now they've got this group coming in who's caught wind of their little protest at the Ladd Whitney Monument, who's going to be joining them, called Boston PSL, who it looks like might have a little rambunctiousness in them. By the way, if you're wondering what PSL stands for, Party for Socialism and Liberation. I've been calling these protesters Marxists for years, and you all tell me it's hyperbole and whatnot.
Marxism and socialism, there's a distinction between the two.
There's no difference.
Well, Marxism, everybody deserves the same amount of wealth, regardless of how rich you are.
Yeah.
Socialism,
the government determines who's.
That's correct. Yeah.
Which Marxism worked out with the government telling you who the oligarchs are and who.
Marxism works out in a dictatorship.
Marxism, as written by Karl Marx, is completely different from Marxism as practiced by Lenin, Stalin, Khrushchev, etc.
That's correct.
Castro, Madero, young
Castro
King
Jr.,
Un, or whoever out. Yeah, exactly. So Marxism and socialism. Anyway,
but yeah.
So,
but see, people are throwing the words out, and not understanding the real history behind it. That's all.
I always ask people, show me the Marxist society that has worked, and
it doesn't,
and I might be willing.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay, good, thank you. But this could be interesting in the city of Lowell tonight and tomorrow, because it hasn't ramped up to Los Angeles riots level, but we're seeing protests in Chicago. We're seeing protests around other cities. Boston tomorrow, I think, has a big No King's Day gathering. Again, Boston stayed relatively.
Why doesn't Boston stay in Boston and let Lowell take care of its own? Why does this group from Boston have to come?
Because that's Friday. They needed.
I beg your pardon. Okay.
Saturday they were going to be at the No King's Day, but they needed something to do on Friday night for the group.
Okay.
They wanted to gather, and Lowell's a great place to visit on a Friday night, right?
Sure is. It's
the Solidarity Lowell people want to dine. They want, so they're going to go out and support some local businesses, which is great. And again, to their credit, while I think politically they're a little, out there, they have been peaceful through the years. Wrong, but peace.
Well, that's their right under the Constitution.
Exactly.
But when you start throwing bricks at people or spit, you can't spit anywhere near me. Don't spit.
So here's my question. They tried to kind of distance themselves on social media last night, saying we didn't invite them, we're not collaborating with them, and we remind them.
Then why are they coming?
We remind everybody. So, one of my buddies said.
Looking for a cause, Teddy?
So one of my buddies said, "Don't be fooled, Teddy. They're not." This is their plausible deniability, but they invited the.
They're going to wear masks.
So to the Solidarity Lowell group, if these guys come in and cause trouble, that's going to reflect on you, right?
Yes, it does, and
it will reflect on your. And there's some politicians who march arm in arm with Solidarity Lowell. They're more than happy to post their photos on social media.
Really?
Yeah. Are you going to be there tonight when Boston PSL shows up? And are you sure you want to be? You sure this is what you want, Lowell? Like we can't tell the Boston Tea Party or the Party for Socialism and Liberation, whatever the hell they are, stay in Boston or just go to Cambridge. It's right down the street.
The bridge, the Longfellow Bridge.
Go to the Encore Casino. Put some money on 13. As a matter of fact, it's a lucky number. But this will be interesting.
Yeah.
Did they pull protests? That's a question I need to send out. Yeah, you need to have a protest. You need to pull a permit, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've never.
I said protest. I meant permits.
Permit to protest.
Yeah, especially if you do it on a...
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I do have a problem with Ladd and Whitney Memorial being ground zero for a lot of things, other than the fact that two gentlemen from the Civil War are buried there. I don't want it made into the political place that kids get to climb on the monument, and there's just stuff all around it and debris and garbage and things. It's like going over to the police memorial and having a protest, Black Lives Matter. I was mad at that too.
And, all right, and you guys, maybe you don't want to listen to me, but Boulder is one of you. Boulder does not want a king either.
See, if I go, I'll do crowd control. I'll kick into trooper mode.
You don't like Trump, never have, never will.
No,
you don't want, so you agree with these folks, but you think it's a bad idea to,
I don't want the man to fail.
Tonight.
I don't want the man to fail.
Well, some people do.
Some people want him dead. Never mind fail. But I don't want
How long
the
does
men.
an investigation into an assassination attempt take, by the way, anyway? It's been almost a year since that kid climbed on the roof. Oh, that's true. Yeah, some assassinations.
He got hit twice in the head.
So when certain organizations that shouldn't be involved are involved in the assassination attempts,
like the mafia,
we never learn the truth about assassinations, do we?
Well, we just go to the mob and ask.
Anyway, well, they'll tell you that the CIA funded them. There's only so many mobsters left from that day.
Here's my phone again. Made a call.
But tonight will be interesting.
I think Bobby had a lot to do with JFK's assassination. Bobby was going after the mob guy.
Of course he was. He turned on them.
Mr. Attorney General, a candidate.
They helped get him elected.
They helped kill Marilyn Monroe too. So what are you going to do?
All right.
Allegedly.
From Marxists at the monument, we want to take a moment to acknowledge Lowell's mayor, 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞 𝐁𝐨𝐝.
I'm sorry.
Now.
You have such a good eye because I missed that.
No, a lot of people did. I sent it. I sent it to a friend who shall remain nameless, and they didn't get it at first. And the next morning, they had sent me a text and go, "Oh my God, I just realized
that's not 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞.
So you remember the Worthen House Cafe, sponsor here of Inside Lowell. We love them. Great place to go for a bite. Tremendous steak tips, great burgers, the entertainment all the time.
Love it.
And it's Lowell's oldest and most historic pub.
It is, man.
They were featured
it's fabulous.
by an organization called ABR, America's Best Restaurants, came into Lowell. They go throughout the country and focus on restaurants. And in Lowell, they focused on the Word, and they haven't put the episode up yet.
No.
But it was a big deal. We talked about it on Inside Lowell. There was social media. The place was packed. I can't wait to see the episode. And they, of course, they wanted to connect. America's Best Restaurants wanted to connect with the community. So
Googled.
Mayor Danny Rourke was away traveling.
Ireland.
Then, the vice mayor steps in and, welcomes the folks. And it's a tradition. If you're a visitor of note to the city, you go into this little room behind the mayor's reception room, and there's a book there. And all the VIP signed. I was there one day when Elizabeth Warren signed it. I can't believe it was like 1 or 2 summers ago. She'd been senator for like 12 years, and she just signed it now. Like, that was weird. But
was it in Apache?
So she went in there. I think Ed Markey went in there and signed.
Sorry.
I think it was
I just shot a hole to Pocahontas, and I love her. So I don't know why I did that.
Upside-down cake recipe. But they were invited. You can see they put the post up there on social media. America's Best Restaurants. ABR host Jay Russell was signed into the mayor's guest book with 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞 this week in Lowell, Massachusetts. Traveling the country every week and exploring independent restaurants you need to try means we get to experience some amazing small towns this country has to offer. Comment below who else you think signed this book. Now, first of all,
small town.
Can I take it? Small towns?
Oh my God.
America's Best Restaurant? You're calling Lowell a small town? We're a big city. Just ask us. We're a big city. We're a gateway city, you effers. We're not a small town. It's like, right? We're a big city.
Boy, he meant that.
But, when I first read this, I'm like,
Excuse me.
I didn't know America's Best Restaurants was in the city 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
With America's first Cambodian mayor.
They signed the mayor's guest book with 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞 𝐁𝐨𝐝 this week in Lowell. That's when 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞 ⁄ was mayor from 2022 through 2024.
He's been busy.
Replaced by Danny Rock.
He's been busy.
And then I scroll down to the
Photo.
to the picture, and the mystery was solved.
Oh, jeez.
That's not 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞.
Hi, Paul Retayam.
That's City Councilor and Vice Mayor Paul Retayam,
Oh, he's a friend.
who they misidentified.
I'm surprised because he usually introduces himself with his name.
They misidentified him as 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞. But no, that is not 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢𝐞. That is indeed Vice Mayor Paul Retayam.
Yeah.
Which I sent him the photo.
Took a second.
And I told him the old Rodney Dangerfield line, no respect.
At all.
I get no respect.
Famous Hungarian, you might add.
So it was a rough week for 𝐋𝐞𝐬𝐥𝐢 last week. First, the city council meeting that veered into a little bit of a train wreck for Germany. And then America's Best Restaurant misidentifies
Yeah,
them.
I'm really psyched though that they went to the Worthen because
Yes.
the Worthen is a little secret gem of good food that
They
people
love small
don't know
towns.
about. Yeah.
They love small towns.
Well, they like old bars, and they did point out the pulley system and everything, and it's incredible to go in there. There's no dress code; just go in. You know, park across the street, ample parking. It's great.
So, anyway, before we wrap up our show with nothing to talk about,
Are we that close?
yeah, the Karen Reed saga is almost over.
Yes, it is.
Today, as a matter of fact, as we are bantering right now,
Closing arguments.
Closing arguments are likely taking place.
Yes.
In the courtroom in Dedham.
There was a delay though.
Yeah, they were supposed to
Beverly
start at 9.
wanted 9. Get the 8:45. Be in the room. 9 o'clock we start.
I
Started in a sidebar.
I had my live feed at 9:30, and there was no activity going on. They were in sidebar.
I waited till 9:35, and I had to come over here.
Do they serve martinis at the sidebar?
No martinis.
No martinis. It was just beer and wine liquor license only.
Well, Karen had a few that night. Maybe they are.
Do they let you take the glass out of the courtroom?
Well, she's always blowing an 08, so they probably just keep the stream straight 08.
So as I watched again the social media brigade, especially the last day of testimony,
They're out front now.
There was a prosecution.
Yeah.
There was a defense expert on there who's basically told Hank Brennan and everybody in that room listening in no uncertain terms he was not.
no hit.
John O'Keefe was not struck by a car.
That's right.
The guy asked him, "Why didn't you do speed test?" He goes, "I didn't need to do a speed test because he was not
never
struck by a car."
happened, yeah.
So the jury is now hearing he was hit by a car.
Yeah.
May or may not have been intentional, but it spun around.
But they haven't given another reason.
He's hearing the guy wasn't hit by a car at all.
But they don't know what the injuries are from. They don't know anything about Higgins or anybody.
Right. So that's one thing. We talked about how this trial is different from the first one.
Oh, completely.
The defense, this one stayed completely away
Nobody
from
called Proctor.
People in the house and whatever. This whole theory that he was beaten up in the basement and dragged outside and left to die never appeared.
Yeah.
And apparently their whole case, the whole defense case was on the forensics show he did not get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Well, they had the dog expert. They had a couple of experts. Well,
he was the science,
what struck me is that they probably have heard from the jurors in the first case, especially the one who's now part of the defense.
There's a gentleman that wears a bow tie that talks a lot about it. He was on the first jury that sat on the jury, and they hired an alternate.
Right. So my hunch is these jurors have told the defense team, listen, this stuff wasn't believable, but your strongest case is the forensics, and that's what it appears that's what the defense went with. Okay. But again, as I watched the social media based on what happened, it was all from Brennan's career has ended, Brennan was exposed, to Brennan proved that she did it, and look at the smirk on her face, and they capture some freeze frames of her looking like the Joker and all this stuff. And I finally made the connection. Karen Reed is Donald Trump with Crohn's disease.
Okay.
Just because in Donald Trump, no matter what is revealed, no matter what happens or history shows, there are some people who hate him, some people who love him.
Right.
at this point of the Karen Reed trial, we're in the same place. No matter what is revealed, there are people who think she hit him and maybe hit him intentionally. And there are people who, you. And there are people like me who think, she didn't do it. She's framed. Let the poor woman walk. And nobody's mind is going to change.
No.
So what are the so this is the dynamic though, that the 12 jurors
18
are they're gonna weed 6 of them away, right?
Yeah, but
unless they top somebody.
There was a 40-minute delay this morning. Do you think she came in to plead?
Who, Reed? No, not her. She's all in.
I'm just starting it.
She's all in.
I'm just thinking, well, they saw the case. Maybe they want to plead.
This is like a World Series of poker. Everybody else threw their chips in, and now you and I, we're pot committed.
I'm all in.
All our chips are in the middle, and we're gonna ride or die with what the next card the dealer flips.
Yeah, the river.
In this case, the jury. So we had a fascinating conversation, a text thread with Ray Booten yesterday, where he asked the question. He said, Boater,
would I hate the jury?
You believe she's guilty. Would you, if the other 11 said not guilty, would you fight? Would you fight, or would you acquiesce and say, all right, no, you fight to the end?
Yeah, I'd go with the science of her car and the science of her blood alcohol.
Which is exactly what I said. This is the only thing we agree upon in this case. If I think somebody is innocent, or if I think somebody's guilty and the rest of the jury thinks the other way, I'm going to be that guy in 12 Angry Men who fights long enough that I'm going to convert the other 11 one by one into my way of thinking. That's right. It was Henry Fonda who played I
own that movie. That's how much I've seen it.
You and I are that same person. Now, as I thought about it, I've started thinking this scenario out in my head as if I'm ever going to be in this situation, right? But it's like, imagine
hire Hank Brennan if you want, Teddy.
Imagine how annoying it must be to be one of the 11 that's in unison on a verdict, guilty or not guilty, whatever side you're on, and then have just this one person.
I would have hung OJ.
Stubborn.
Not hang OJ, but I would have hung that trial.
You would have hung the trial on OJ.
Yeah, they had
you wouldn't have flipped.
No. Not to please that room, no.
Well, the DNA evidence was planted.
I wouldn't flip to change anybody's opinion anyway. You're happy to have that, but the science of his phone, the science of her car computer, and her blood alcohol at 9 a.m. was on 08. That puts her around a 2325 at the time, and she is charged with an alcohol.
Did her car computer show a strike?
It did. She clipped him, so it didn't. It only
didn't show a strike. Okay.
Just like an airbag. Let me explain this. Just like an airbag. I've been to many accidents. Airbags have not deployed,
correct.
Sent a mass hit 100 miles an hour. Ellen Lingenhart, my line mate, rest in peace, trooper, was hit from behind at 100 miles an hour. Her airbag never deployed. She was hit square. So it doesn't always go off.
If you hit from behind, does the airbag go off? I thought it was a front collision.
I think the airbag. I think so. I may be wrong on that, Teddy. I might be. I don't know that for sure. But now they have side airbags, front airbags. Volvos light up like a balloon.
Right. The balloon lifts you out of the river. And there's so much oxygen in that car.
You're floating up there. But what was I was going to say? What was I saying, Teddy?
Oh, you were just talking about I was saying, is there evidence that he was hit, that the car, there's evidence that the car went in reverse, but the car computer does not show a strike.
It doesn't show a strike.
And now you've got a couple of defense forensic experts who say there's no way he was hit by a car.
His phone activity ends at the time her SUV leaves the scene. So he has no more, his phone starts to temp down because he's lying on it on the grass. And it never goes and gets warm again.
Did he pass out drunk and get eaten by a dog?
Could he have? No.
I'm just trying to think of what...
Those marks on his arm...
Could both sides
first
be
layer of epidermis. That's like a scratch. It's not a prong or a print. It's first layer epidermis. That's not a dog bite. What, did he gum him to death, Teddy?
Well,
Did he gum him to death?
Well, listen,
there's no bottom teeth.
There was a dog bite expert who said
one woman in the world that can... Only her. But she said.
But did the prosecution call somebody who said that wasn't a dog bite?
No, they cross-examined her.
Right.
And I think they impeached her.
You think they impeached her?
I did.
The Karen Reed fans say she's right. This is I'm
the Karen Reed people are out there now on cars because I think the buffer zone is gone because the trial's over. So they can yell now. And they're out with the signs and they're wearing their pink and they're, it's to the point now, like it was in the OJ trial. People are taking it personally. People are A, B, C, and D. I'm wearing black today because there was a police officer in Boston that was murdered one way or the other. And I think from the evidence that was shown, I don't think anymore, there was intent and she hit him.
All right. So you're more sure today than you were
Than I was last trial. Last trial, there was doubt, Teddy. It was done, Lally did it differently. They didn't call half the people on either side this time. Proctor never came in. The ATF guy never came in. The owner of the house, Albert, never came in. They can't talk about the inside of the house. They can't talk about a dog. They can't prove that those are prong or bite marks. I don't know what else to say.
But what's in the juror's head? That's what I'm going to be fascinated when they all come out and they write their books and they talk about it. Because anybody who said, I didn't pay that much attention to the first case, I don't think they're intelligent enough or alive enough to be around it. How could you not hear something about that case?
First trial had 2 more weeks to go.
Right.
They ended early this time.
Right, exactly.
Because people were just
the
not
defense just wrapped it up. They said, we're going with forensics, screw Higgins, screw Proctor.
We're just going with science.
Screw
and
whoever.
just like Ray Boone pointed out, witness evidence is not as reliable as you think.
So you got conflicting science, though. Which science do you believe? Has the science been decided?
Oh, the dog bites?
Anything. The car strike, the car strike, that he was struck by a car.
He's only injured on the right side of his body.
His injuries are consistent.
Right side only, though.
One side says they're consistent with the car strike. One side says they're not. And these are all experts, paid experts, by the way. They get brought in. They get paid to take a side.
That's tricky. But
so they're going to take the side of...
They're supposed to be impartial.
The one person who was supposed to be impartial...
Yeah. Dr. Wolf?
The one who the pathologist who determined cause of death, the coroner, didn't determine the cause of death.
Yes.
So left that.
Well, you have to remember.
Is that where this all started?
Well,
what if the coroner?
It was
had
a medical
determined the cause
emergency,
of
not a
death
murder
at first?
scene they went to. So they only knew it as a guy passed out in the snow. That's how they came. The ambulance came that way. No
but they didn't do an autopsy. A cop did.
Oh, they did. They completely.
Okay, and did not could not determine or did not determine.
Oh no, we had the Commonwealth, and I say we. That's a habit because I've worked for the Commonwealth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've testified on behalf of the prosecution.
The Commonwealth. Yes, I've taken an oath to the Commonwealth, to the Constitution, and to the state. I mean, I've taken that oath, and I take perjury very seriously. I'm not ruining my career for anyone. I'm not uncovering anybody. I'm not doing anything like that. Even the 12-year-old that I had in my back seat still went. That's another show you'd have to follow up on.
Meanie.
I was, but I knew it right away. I still think of him sometimes. Yeah. But I hope every juror gets counseling. I hope everyone stays healthy because they have seen photos, they have seen evidence, they have witnessed everything, and they have seen her statements over and over and over again when she went on her victory lap when she had a hung jury. It's not an acquittal.
Huge mistake.
And we can come back, meaning the Commonwealth, as many times as they want.
With hung jury. Right.
With a hung jury.
But they won't come back. If this one hangs, which I'd be shocked if this
everyone
jury
thought
hangs.
they were going to call Proctor.
If this jury hangs, I'd be shocked if they
are
try
allowed
it again.
to understand and now completely understand the lesser included charges. So you don't have to go second degree. You can go OUI. Well, it's not OUI. It's
OUI.
It is OUI. She was driving while drunk. She admits to drinking. She admits to having too many. I won't go on the highway, but I'll take the back roads home. I'm sorry.
My mother never drove on a highway.
Well, I take the highway specifically because I have people up there. Well, I'm not taking a back road.
Yeah, but
I don't drink and drive anyway.
Maybe,
but,
but if she's thinking if I'm on the highway and I have to go, where am I going to pull over?
Well, that's a good
if you're on the
point,
side
too.
streets, you can.
Well, she's managed that. She's handled her whole life, though. I don't know. I don't know about that.
When does the jury come back? Not today, obviously.
No,
by the time closing arguments end today,
they're going to stay till 5:30 today.
They get lunch. They pick the jury foreman. We're going to get to 5:30, and then they really kick into deliberations.
Well,
Monday.
They have to get rid of alternates.
Yes,
and that's all
process.
done through picking numbers. And then if a juror, there was a big delay this morning, and I don't know why, and I want to know why. And if it's a juror that somebody talked to, or saw the news or something like that, we have some problems. And I don't know what the litigation is at the beginning. It's sidebar again.
How many days do they deliberate? You think they come back with a guilty verdict?
I think they're going to come back with a guilty.
Quickly? 3 days? So by next Wednesday?
I think so.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, everybody thought it was going to be a quick acquittal last time, and the longer it dragged out, the more people are like, hey, wait. And usually they tell you a quick verdict is good for the prosecution. a longer one means there's a debate and
Well
doubt.
said.
So, but
That's accurate.
with the retrial, we all thought, those of us who think she's innocent, we're like, this is a no-brainer. This should come back in a day with a not guilty. But as it kept dragging on, we're like, uh-oh. This thing, there's some legitimate thought in that jury room that she is guilty of something.
And Beverly Cannoni is taking very good care of them. She is nurturing and taking care of them because she doesn't want to lose a juror.
She couldn't order some temporary air conditioners be brought into the room?
They're on.
Are they?
They just,
the fans or the air
they're like the
conditioners?
Athenian in the 80s.
You can have there's these little things that roll. You can bring them on.
Every time your hair kicked on back in the day, the lights would dim. I loved it. It was the best thing.
System was older than you, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
That system, you were class of 81. That system was class of 72. You
I loved every second about that. I just did. And then you refix it all. It looks fabulous, I might
and
add.
it's nice and cool in there.
And it's gorgeous. But I'll tell you, I've been there through dim and bright.
All right. From Operation Dirtbag, a.k.a. Dirt Bike, to Marxists at the Monument and in Boater's backyard, and the Karen Reed saga, Leslie Boater.
Sorry, Jack.
As always, thank you for joining us. Thank you as well
Teddy.
to Mayor Chau for his cameo.
Sorry, Paul.
Funniest thing of the week, I have to tell you. That was just classic. Thank you, Boater.
My pleasure.
Thanks all of you for joining us as well here. Another week of the Daily Pulse wrapped up here with a Friday the 13th edition. The Black Cat, Leslie Boater. In hizzy. Next week, no show on Monday. I'm playing in the Megan House Foundation 11th annual For Hope and Recovery Golf Tournament. Too late, I think, for you to register. Never too late to support the Megan House Foundation, themeganhouse.org. We'd love you folks
The link right there.
to help support young women in recovery. And if you're one of the many, the 100+ golfers, and then the dozens who bought tickets for the lunch afterwards, I look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you for your support. And thank you to everybody at Megan's House for the amazing work they do. We'll be back next week. We'll talk to Artie Sutcliffe. Let's see if we can save him $20,000. I'll help him go through his budget like I helped Liam
Artie,
Skinner
the
go through
one-man
his.
party.
Try to save Artie, the one-man party, $20,000.
Hi, Artie.
But we'll tell you how you can help support the Folk Festival as well. Dan Rivera will be here on Wednesday. We'll talk about the CBA, Coalition for a Better Acre. And who knows, maybe I'll ask him to talk about the city manager. See if he's interested in becoming city manager at some point. We got all sorts of other fun stuff coming on. Liam Skinner will be back on Thursday. We'll have it won't be the Pod Squad because Michaela Hondras McCarthy will be away, but we're going to call it the Reduced Power Hour with Atch and Han. Not the full power hour. If we can get Asa Stutz in here, we'll make it a full power hour.
That'd be great.
But if not, we'll do the Reduced Power Hour on Friday. Lots of other things already booked in the coming weeks, including the Save Smith Baker crew. They're going to come in and tell us what they saw on their walkthrough, and more importantly, do they think they can salvage it? We'll talk about all of that. It's the Daily Pulse. It drops every day at noon here on InsideLowell.com and our YouTube, Facebook, all of our social media components. The show that's keeping its finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. Till next time, everybody stay safe, enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you on the other side.